The last time someone called me by my full name was the day I got erased from the family tree. My name is Ava Tran. I'm 34 years old, a litigation associate at a mid-size law firm in Seattle, the kind of job where people only respect you if you never let your voice shake. I fight for people's rights every day, but I couldn't fight for my place in my own family. It started when I was 16. One afternoon, I came home from school to find the living room wall changed. The family photo that used to hang there, me, Dad, and Mom, was gone. In its place was a new one, Dad, his second wife Lillian, and her daughter Chloe. Perfect smiles. Perfect lighting. No trace of me. No trace of my mother. That was the year they stopped inviting me to family portraits, stopped using my name. They started calling me her daughter. Or worse, the leftover. They said my mother ran off when I was a baby, that she couldn't handle motherhood. That Lillian stepped in and did her best. Their best included locking up old albums, removing all the wedding pictures, and once, and I'll never forget this, telling guests that I was a family friend just staying for a while. By the time I turned 18, I had moved into a sublet above a noisy laundromat and took 2 part-time jobs to afford community college. My father's advice? You're smart. You'll figure it out. Just don't expect handouts. Meanwhile, Chloe got a new Jeep. Lillian remodeled the kitchen. And Dad took early retirement. I didn't hear about Grandma Grace's funeral until a friend from church texted me a photo of the obituary. Grace Tran. Matriarch, teacher, devoted mother and grandmother. Survived by her son Nathan, daughter-in-law Lillian, and beloved granddaughter Chloe. No mention of me, not even as a misprint. She was my mother's mother. She raised me every summer until Lillian came into the picture. She used to braid my hair, teach me how to make spring rolls, tell me bedtime stories in Vietnamese and English. Then one day, it all stopped. She stopped calling, stopped sending birthday cards. I thought she gave up on me too. I told myself it didn't matter, but it did. 2 weeks after the funeral, I received a letter, no return address, just a law firm seal, old school embossed, inside. To Ms. Ava Tran, regarding the estate of Grace D. Tran. I stared at it for a full 5 minutes before I opened it. It was from an attorney named Eleanor Chen, based in Scottsdale, Arizona. She requested my presence for a formal reading of Grace Tran's final will and testament. I immediately thought, there must be a mistake. They erased me years ago. But part of me, the part that still slept with a photo of Grandma Grace under my pillow through law school, needed to know. So I emailed back and booked a flight for Friday. I told no one, not even my roommates, not my coworkers, this was mine. And deep down, I hoped it would finally answer the one question that had haunted me since I was a child. Did anyone in this family ever really want me here? The law office was tucked between a yoga studio and a Vietnamese bakery in Old Town Scottsdale. It smelled like ink, lemon cleaner, and dried flowers. The woman waiting for me was Eleanor Chen, a state attorney for Grace Tran. Late 50s, calm like a judge, kind like a friend of your mother's you forgot you loved. She offered me tea. I said yes. Not because I was thirsty, but because my hands were shaking. I'm sorry for your loss, she said, and somehow that simple sentence hit harder than any eulogy I didn't get to attend. Thank you, I whispered. We sat in her office. Just the two of us. No cousins, no father, no Lillian. This may come as a surprise, Eleanor said, opening a folder, but your grandmother left you everything. I blinked. Excuse me. She named you as the sole beneficiary. The house, the savings, the investment portfolio, the two $8 million trust. I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was impossible. My father said Grandma didn't want anything to do with me. She cut me off. Eleanor paused. She never cut you off, they cut her off, and you in the process. She handed me a letter. The envelope was cream-colored. The ink still smelled like the perfume Grandma used to wear, jasmine and mint. It was written in her careful cursive, the kind she used for every Christmas card, every recipe index, every post-it she left on my lunchbox when I was little. I opened it. I read, "My dearest Ava, if you're reading this, I'm no longer here to say it out loud. So I'm saying it now, the way I wish I'd said it every day. I never gave up on you. Your mother, my daughter, didn't run away. She didn't leave you. She died. In a car crash, on her way to bring you a birthday gift when you were 2. I wanted to raise you after that, but Nathan, your father, refused. Lillian said it would confuse you, said you were damaged goods and needed a clean break. I fought Ava, I really did, but they cut off all contact, changed your phone, moved addresses, so I watched from a distance. I mailed letters they returned. I tried to come to your high school graduation, but I wasn't on the guest list. I sent a gift anyway. You never received it, but I watched you grow through updates from people who cared. I know you worked through college. I know about the loans, the night classes, the courtroom internships. And I know you never once asked them for help. Ava, you are strong in a way they never deserved to witness. You are your mother's daughter, and my granddaughter. This legacy is yours, not because of pity or revenge, but because you earned it with grace, even when the world offered you none. Love always. Grandma Grace. I stared at the page so long it started to blur. Eleanor waited in silence. She handed me another folder. Inside, photos, reports, my life in snapshots, me pulling a double shift at the diner, me taking the bus at midnight in the rain, me holding a cheap plastic binder walking into my first court internship. She hired someone to check on you, Eleanor said. A private investigator, nothing invasive, just quiet protection. I laughed through tears. I thought I was invisible. Eleanor shook her head. You were seen. You were always seen, just not by the people who should have seen first. Then came the twist. She also left a clause, Eleanor said. She wants you to be the one to tell them. Nathan, Lillian, Chloe, she wants them to know that the estate went to you. From your hand, with a witness present. As I looked up, why? Because some truths are too important to whisper through lawyers. I nodded, and in that moment, for the first time in decades, I felt claimed, not tolerated, not pitied, not included. But chosen. They thought I wouldn't come. They thought erasing my name from every photo, every group text, every holiday invite would be enough. But what they forgot was that the truth doesn't need permission to show up. It just needs timing, and I had perfect timing. It was a Sunday afternoon. Dad was hosting what he called a family discussion about Grandma Grace's will. He'd invited a few cousins, some church friends. Chloe had even posted estate planning meeting eyes on her story the night before. They expected an announcement. They expected money. What they got was me and Eleanor Chen walking through the front door in a blazer and black heels. Lillian answered the door. The look on her face when she saw me, you'd think I was the IRS. Ava, she said slowly, voice like ice chips. We weren't expecting you. I smiled. No, you weren't, but Grace was. She stepped aside stiffly. Inside, Dad was pouring wine. Chloe and her boyfriend were at the dining table, looking bored. Photos of Grace were displayed on the mantel like she'd always been honored here. Funny, I remember the night Lillian packed those photos into storage bins and called them emotional clutter. Dad turned. His smile faltered when he saw Alina. "What's this?" he asked. "She's Grandma's lawyer," I said. "We're here for the will reading." Chloe perked up. Lillian narrowed her eyes. Dad cleared his throat. "Well," he said, fake warmth dripping from every word, "I suppose we should all hear what Mom had in mind." Alina opened the folder and began. "To Ava Tran, I leave the entirety of my estate, my home, my personal assets, my savings, and my trust." She paused. No other names were listed, just mine. Silence. Then Lillian snapped, "That has to be a mistake." "It's not," I said calmly. She made it very clear. Witnessed, notarized, legally ironclad. Chloe stood up. "Wait, what about me? I was her only granddaughter." I looked at her. "No, Chloe, you were the replacement. I was the granddaughter she fought for, and the one you all forgot." Dad tried to speak. "I think we need to revisit this privately. Maybe consult our attorney." "You don't have an attorney," Alina interrupted. "You were never named in the will. There is nothing for you to claim, only something for you to face." Lillian exploded. "This is outrageous. We took care of Grace. We paid for her meds. We visited her every Sunday." Alina raised an eyebrow. "Actually, Mrs. Tran documented every visit, most of which included you asking for money. She also made note of how you prevented Ava from seeing her." My father looked away. Chloe's mouth hung open. For once, none of them had a script. I stepped forward. "I'm not here to argue. I'm here to confirm what you all already suspected, that I was never the mistake in this family. You just couldn't stomach the truth. That the daughter you tried to forget became the woman who owns everything you were counting on." Lillian said, "We raised you." "You fed me," I replied, "but you never welcomed me. You were cold. You were cruel. And you were very, very wrong." Chloe's voice cracked. "But Ava, you don't have to take it all. Can't we share?" I looked her dead in the eye. "Did we ever share birthdays, vacations, photos?" "No, Chloe, you shared the lie. Now you can share the silence." Alina closed the folder. "Unless there are legal objections," she said, "this matter is settled." No one said a word. I turned to leave, but paused at the doorway. "You built a life on pretending I didn't exist. Now you get to live in it without me. Good luck." And then I walked out, not with a check, not with revenge, but with something far more valuable. Proof that I was never the extra. I was the legacy, all along. Grace's house wasn't big. It wasn't beachfront. There was no chandelier, no marble kitchen, no Tesla in the driveway. But when I stepped inside, I felt something I hadn't felt in over 20 years. Belonging. The curtains were still floral. The kitchen still smelled faintly like fish sauce and cinnamon. And her favorite ceramic teacup still sat by the window, stained from years of jasmine. I walked through the hallway and saw them. Photos not stored in plastic tubs, not hidden, displayed. Me at 4 in overalls holding a plastic guitar. Me with my mother, Grace's daughter, blowing candles together. Me asleep in her arms on a couch older than I am now. In the back room, I found a trunk. Inside, letters, cards. Drawings I'd made but never knew she kept. And a journal. Each page chronicled the years we were apart. Ava turned 10 today. I mailed a necklace. It came back unopened. Saw her walking near the courthouse. She didn't see me. She looked tired, so grown. She passed the bar. I cried alone in the garden. I closed the journal, tears silent, but steady. It didn't feel like regret. It felt like reunion. I moved into the house. Quietly, no announcement. No real estate blogs writing about lawyer inherits mystery estate. Just me, a cup of tea, and time. And then I built something, not a business, not a brand, a program. I called it the Grace Project. A legal mentorship nonprofit for girls aging out of foster care. Girls who, like me, were told they were too much, too broken, or not enough to be kept. We help them get internships, legal aid, college access. But most of all, we help them get names that won't be erased again. Each girl who graduates from the program gets to plant something in the garden. We have a lemon tree, a jasmine bush, one stubborn patch of chili that refuses to die. They bloom in silence, but they bloom. My father emailed me once, said he was struggling, asked if we could move past all that happened. I replied with 3 words, "We never started." Lillian sent a Christmas card with a quote about forgiveness. I tossed it in the compost. Fitting, really. Even poisoned things can become fertilizer. If you wait long enough. Chloe got a job, she's doing fine, and I mean that sincerely. Some people grow up when money runs out. Others grow up when truth shows up. She got both. But the best part isn't the house, or the money, or the vindication. It's the moment I sit in Grace's garden at sunset. Letters beside me. Wind moving through lemon leaves. And I say out loud just once a week, "I got it from here, Grandma." And I know, somewhere, somehow, she hears me, because legacies don't live in courts or trusts. They live in how we choose to carry the love we were nearly denied. And I carry hers. With both hands.